Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Todd Foley, Chief Digital and Information Security Officer at Lydonia. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Jacob Lorz, Chief Information Security Officer at Cintas. Jacob, thank you for taking the time to talk with us today.
Hey, thanks, Todd. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm looking forward to it.
It's always been the case, but even more so today, that because of the constant evolution of cybersecurity, um, there are new threats, new technologies, but that's also a people challenge, right? A skills challenge. And
Yeah.
how do you keep your teams current? How do you make sure that they're not only up on the latest and greatest, but that they continue to be really lifelong learners in their role?
Yeah, it's a great point. I really advocate lifelong learning. I tell anyone who comes to me and says, hey, they're interested in a cyber role, I'm like, great. So you're going to be in school for the rest of your life. Are you comfortable with that? And not necessarily they're going to be going to a university or something
Right.
like that, but you're constantly learning. Everything's constantly changing. So we do meticulous hiring, right? And we focus specifically on somebody who has that kind of can convey that internal passion for that constant learning. And then we provide educational opportunities, whether it's in the form of continuous or recurring tabletop exercises, both at the technical level and at the executive level, decision making level, or if it's about gamifying some type of opportunity for capture the flag scenarios, something like that,
Right.
to create this kind of competitive nature to things like, hey, I'm the winner type. Or if it's just constant security awareness campaigns that are based on your role, not even your role within cyber or your role within IT. It could be your role within the enterprise itself.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so you're 100% right. It is a lifelong learning aspect. We look for that people that has that passion to continue to evolve and to continue to grow. We curate daily threat feeds that we send out internally, and then we inside those daily threat feeds will say, okay, this is what the world is seeing. This is how we are prepared for it, or this is some additional investigation that we're doing to again spread the kind of awareness and to kind of grow that security culture. It can no longer be in the back of the brain box where just cyber is an afterthought. It has to be up front.
I love that, right? And it's really um, representative of how you get started, right? The same intellectual curiosity that drove you to start doing Cisco CLI with a fixed firewall is what you built into your program, into your team. Um,
You have
you,
to be curious to be successful in this role.
yeah, and you mentioned another aspect that I want to ask about too, which is you talked about ongoing security awareness in the context of your team, and not just for their role, but for the enterprise. I think every CISO nowadays is being asked not only to drive and to check the box on it, but to really be effective at security awareness for the enterprise.
Yeah.
Um, how how do you do that at Cintas, if you can speak to that? And what role does the culture of your security team play in the culture of the organization when it comes to security?
Every organization I think is different. Let me just start there.
Yeah,
Some organizations are cyber from the get-go, and other organizations takes a little bit of time to warm up too. But you have to kind of approach, in my opinion, you have to approach cybersecurity through that no-fault lens. So every time that you interact with anyone in the organization, you're
yeah,
interacting with them for their benefit, right? They might have made a risky move and you're not contacting them because they made a risky move. You're contacting them to help them not make the risky move in the future, whether it's at the enterprise or whether it's at home, make it personal for them. But we do more than just check the box. Check the box for cybersecurity insurance is, do you provide security awareness training once a year? Yes, we do, because we have to check the box, right? Then we also, as I mentioned, we provide role specific training. So if you're in finance, you get specific training related to cybersecurity for a finance professional, right? If you're in an executive role, you get specific training for that executive. If you're handling a different type of device profile, you get specific training related to that device profile. And another check the box is, do you do phishing simulations? Well, yeah, of course we do, but we don't do one simulation a year from a domain that says you got phished.com, right? We will take a look at the phishing the legitimate email phishing attempts that we receive and block at our perimeter, and we will craft internal campaigns based around those. So real world examples that are continuous, not once a year. They're coming all the time. And then we measure our metrics against that. We try to understand, okay, what are some areas that are tripping up some of our internal employees that we need to reinforce some security awareness campaigns around? Whether it's something as simple as additional posters or additional communications that are going out or reminders on their screensaver lock screen.
I love that. And I love what you're describing as kind of a no fault approach. I think it's rare where I don't talk to another CISO who doesn't admit that, at least when they started the role, they may not have been the most beloved person in the organization.
Sure.
And, a lot of what we do in our work with clients is try and create initiatives where there's a specific benefit that security is trying to drive, engaging the business with a how can we help kind of approach instead of a don't do that kind of
Yeah.
approach. And I think that's huge in terms of perception, in terms of effectiveness of programs overall. If you find, and all you have to do is look at any of the continual surveys on employee adherence to security and understand if you don't bring them in to your program, if you don't have a cooperative environment, then you're not going to be effective regardless of how good your protocols are.
Spreading security through fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or FUD, is not the way to go. I mean, that was the way of 20 years ago, where you came in with an approach of you have to lock everything down. You're the office of no, you're the office of everybody is operating with malicious intent. No. I mean, I operate on the mindset that everyone's trying to do their level best to get their job done correctly, right? And sometimes there's a cyber risk component that they didn't anticipate, and we're here to help them.
I love the way you articulated that. I think that's something we all have to take to heart, and the only way I think that programs are truly going to be successful. Um, so let me ask you a hype question.
Hmm.
And I don't think I can talk to anyone these days without at least talking a little bit about AI.
Sure.
And there's a lot of buzz there, a lot of hype, but there's real potential there too, right? And while avoiding getting into specific technicalities, can you tell me how you view AI's place in cybersecurity, maybe as both something that you can leverage and something that presents a new challenge?
Yeah, yeah, and this one definitely comes back around full circle. Um, and let's start with the challenge first, right? So from a challenge perspective, we know we've seen it already. Threat actors are leveraging AI in order to hit us with more attacks. Their bots are getting better. Their bots are able to pivot more quickly. Threat actors are leveraging AI to craft better phishing campaigns or more targeted phishing campaigns, spearing, whaling campaigns, right? We've seen this. We know it's going to continue to happen. And I can just imagine that as artificial intelligence and ML continues to advance, their attacks are going to get better. But one thing that I heard at a CDO magazine event, so to come back home at their cybersecurity summit, somebody took it from the benefit perspective. It's not so much that we need to talk about AI on how AI can help us as cyber professionals, but let's inverse it and let's talk about intelligent automation or IA. A huge benefit of AI is now the ability to leverage that inside of our tool stack to get better at intelligent automation. You called out earlier that there's I think you made the point related to the workforce, and we still have a massive shortage of cyber professionals and roles that are open within the United States. And the numbers vary, but it seems to land around 500,000 unfulfilled roles per year. Um, we can only overcome that by employing more automation, especially in kind of those uh, filtering out the noise environments, identifying what is a true positive versus a false positive, identifying where we can correlate different events together to bubble up a true scenario or a true indicator of attack that we need to focus on or indication of compromise we need to focus on. So the boon that we could have within AI and cyber is really, I think, just that better increased automation, increased orchestration, reduced opportunities for the threat actors to either hit the environment or dwell in the environment, and also to kind of cut out some of those unfulfilled roles because we'll still have that capability, but I think we can overcome a deficiency in that capability through automation.
Well, thank you, Jacob, for joining me today. For our listeners and viewers, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. And it's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope you have a great day.
Oh, thanks a lot, Todd. I had a great time. I appreciate the conversation. It's good talking to you.